Good morning. How are you doing today?
I am great. How are you?
Very proud of you because you know what? And allowing other people to find inspiration through your journey.
Absolutely. I like that. That whole little introduction. I might steal that.
But it took courage to write this book. And now that it's out here, wow. I mean, I cannot wait to start talking with real people about how you have evolved and continue to grow.
Absolutely. That's the whole point, right? And I'm glad, you start this interview out on the same page. That is what Undefeated is. That's what I wrote this book. That's the purpose, right? It falls under the category of memoir, but it's really a manual.
Yeah.
And my goal is for the reader to be empowered and inspired and even educated just from my life's journey and sharing those ups and downs and this roller coaster ride of life. And, it's just relatable to anyone. So anyone that reads the book, I promise, can relate to the journey that I'm calling life so far, and just took the broken pieces, put them back together and turned it into a blessing, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you used the word a manual. And the reason why is because I wish you could see my writing here, because the one thing that's missing from this book is a yellow highlighter, because there's stuff here that needs to be highlighted so that other people can come back and pick up on what you learned.
1,000%. 1,000%. And that is the entire goal of this book. So, I mean, you get it. And that is the entire goal of the book. I'm sharing because as I function in my everyday life, especially now being a first lady, I discuss that in the book as well, but I'm sharing more. I'm talking intimately with people more often. And I started this journey of writing the book probably back in like 2018 or 19. And I just kept getting scared. I just kept it was fear of writing a book because there's so many people that are a part of my story and a part of my journey. And I was like, hey, they didn't decide to write a book. I did. So is it fair, to tell my story, which includes them? And as I, matured and got older, I just was like, I have to share this because I know that it can help somebody. And I know that you read Undefeated and you will finish it and at least have 4 to 5 nuggets to put in your toolbox to say, okay, I learned from her, and I wouldn't even call it a mistake. I learned from her journey. I learned from her manual of how I don't want to go about something or to prepare myself for the next phase in life.
I love the way that you explain that because it's so true that life is a series of chapters, and this chapter is now in a book, and it prepares your heart and our hearts to go for the next level.
Absolutely. Think big, I just told my husband this the other day, and it just dawned on me. I was doing a book signing last week in LA in a mall that's now called Westfield Mall. And growing up, it was called Fox Hills. And I'm going to call it Fox Hills because that's what it will be. But I was in there, I was doing a book signing for Undefeated. And I was thinking, God, I'm in Fox Hills Mall, the mall that I grew up in, running from gangbangers. And, it was the mall. And my goal then was to work at Hot Dog on a Stick. Hot Dog on a Stick is just a fast food place in the food court. And every young girl wanted to work there because you had the cute uniforms and, everybody thought it's the thing if you worked there. And that was my goal then, right? And I was thinking, here I am in Fox Hills Mall signing my book. Like I'm an author. I wrote a book and there are people here filled in this room for me to sign their book and take pictures. And just imagine me as a 16, 17, 18-year-old girl, my goal was to work at Hot Dog on a Stick. Like I wasn't thinking big. And I want to instill in my children and anyone else that I can that will listen to anything I have to say, to think big forever. Like there is no umbrella, there is no cap on your goals and dreams, and all you got to do is go after them. So if you read Undefeated and you end that book and feel like you can just accomplish the world. You can at least shoot for the stars and just try and drag out that resilience that all of us have inside of us to just go for it. Yeah. The biggest thing you could think of, go for all your goals. Yeah. You're going to absolutely conquer some of them, maybe not all, but conquering some is such a good feeling that you'll just keep trying. It'll push you to keep trying.
You talk about reading the book Undefeated. Let's take that one more step. Activate the book Undefeated. Activate it.
Activate it. Activate it. Activate it. You have to believe you are undefeated in every single part of life. Every broken piece, mend it back together, undefeated. Yeah. You had a goal, you didn't quite get there. Guess what? That's still a win because you now know how to not go about it a different way. Still a win. Still undefeated.
I've always believed that winning is a choice. Now that I've been introduced to the word undefeated, I feel like it's like a new mantra for all of us. Instead of saying, "Oh, I'm having a bad day," I'm undefeated for win this day by choice.
Absolutely. It is a mindset. Undefeated is a mindset. And once you realize that and decide that that is your mantra and that is the mindset that you're going to, function through life with. And again, we can wake up every day and complain about something. We can. That's a choice. But we also can wake up and say, that's a little funky. I'm not loving it. But guess what? I'm undefeated. I'm going to overcome that too. So the mindset of undefeated, you're unstoppable.
You know what's really interesting about you releasing this book at this time? As we head into the brand new summer, on the other end, people are going to want to come out feeling brand new. And a book like this seems to be the guide. This is a summer read.
It is a summer read. While you're by the pool on your vacation this summer, you read the book, you can go into fall, when it's time to go back to the grind. And I mean, there's plenty of people that's going to grind through the summer. So listen, I'm one of them. But it's an activation. And I love that. I actually love that. It's an activation to being undefeated and living life undefeated.
One of the things that we're dealing with in the book.
Well, I think it's self-awareness. Yes. You really have to, that's lacking a lot in our culture today. Just self-awareness is so important. And sometimes you just have to sit with yourself and, it's things that I consistently realize about myself every day. And unless you're cognizant and intentional about being self-aware, then this undefeated life that we talk about, it's still accomplishable. But when you are self-aware of your flaws, of your habits, of things that you might need to just work on, being undefeated becomes a lot easier because you can recognize I know that about myself. I tend to start my sentences with a negative instead of a positive. I tend to talk myself out of X, Y, and Z. So in the book, we just go on a journey of practicing the activation of being undefeated, because like I said, it is a mindset. It is something that you sometimes just have to talk to yourself. Even if it's throughout the day, you have to talk to yourself and encourage yourself on this undefeated journey.
Do you find yourself turning this into a book series in the way that once we study this book and activate this book, we want the next level of the game?
I would love that. I mean, right now, I think it's so funny you say that because I have girlfriends that have read the book and they're like, oh my gosh, you left out the time that this happened. And you left out, it was so many things that, people are reminding me of undefeated moments that I wasn't able to put in the book. So it probably could be a part 2 and part 3. But I think as this journey of life, I'm still evolving, learning. So I'm sure I could write a good 2 more books on being undefeated, because as I speak to you today, there's still stories for me to tell, finish that book and right now. So yeah.
Anytime in the future, the door is always going to be open for you.
Appreciate you. This was a good interview. Thank you for having me.
Will you be brilliant today, okay? And be undefeated.
I absolutely will.